Hello, my young geometry class. I'm gonna go over the makeup for the quiz from last week. We're gonna start by going over this problem right here. We have that a wire is attached to the top of a 5-meter tall flagpole, and it forms a 60-degree angle with the ground. So that information indicates the following. That this angle right here, that measures 60 degrees. The length of the flagpole, which is this distance right here in red, that measures 5. And they want to know the length of the wire. The wire is this one right here that I'm going to highlight in blue. So the way we're going to figure this out is using SOHCAHTOA. So I'm going to label this as X. So and then TOA. So what we're going to do from right here is we're going to determine again what X is by determining what value we have. Well, if this is the angle that we have, the hypotenuse would be this one right here in, let me do it all in green. This right here would be the hypotenuse. The opposite side would be the red side. This is O, and the adjacent side would be this bottom part right here. That would be A, which I'll highlight in black. This right here is the A. So here, since the A is pretty much again useless, we have no information, nor are we looking at anything about A. A is going to be useless. So anything with an A is going to be out. So the trig function we're going to use is the sine of our angle is equal to the O side, the opposite side, over the H. So we're going to plug in values here. So for X, we're going to plug in 60 degrees. For the O, we are going to plug in the number 5. And for the H, we're going to plug in the letter X. Now, in order to solve this equation in this format, since our denominator is in the bottom, we're simply going to switch this with that. So that means that X equals to 5 divided by the sine of 60 degrees. Now we're going to plug this into the calculator. I'm going to use a different calculator than the one you normally have. Slide over. So I'm going to use this one right here. And we're doing again the, oh, I need to change the settings. Make sure that your calculator settings are to degrees, that your angles are being measured in degrees and not radians. Now, even though I'm using a different calculator than the one we use in class, again, the idea is still the same. So here, we're going to get 5, and we're going to divide it by the sine of 60 degrees. And my answer is 5.77. Which, if I look at the answer choices, that would be this one right here. 10 divided by the square root of 3 is again that decimal value of 5.77. So all I have to do is just with my answer choices write it again in my answer choices in decimal form by performing the set operation with my calculator, and that's going to be the answer that matches. So my answer would be that. Now the next question we're going to look at is this triangle right here. Well, similarly, we want to figure out the equation, not actually determine what the value of the equation is, just set up the equation. So if this is our angle here, I'm going to label my 3 sides in blue, in red, and in green. Since my angle is here, since we're looking from this corner right here, this side right here is the hypotenuse, since it's opposite of the 90-degree angle. This side over here is the O side, the opposite side, because it's opposite of that angle 20. And the adjacent side is this bottom side right there. So let me write our acronym, SOHCAHTOA. And let's see which one we're going to eliminate. Since the O side has no value, we don't know nothing about the letter O, nor are we looking for the letter O, we're looking for H here, that side is going to be useless. So anything with the letter O is out. So that eliminates the first and second one. So we're going to use K, which is the cosine of our angle X is equal to the A divided by the H. Now substituting in the values, we're going to replace the cosine with 20 degrees, the X with the 20 degrees, I'm sorry. The A is 12 and the H is X. So that would be the first choice, letter A. Cosine of 20 is equal to 12 over X. All right, let's look at our next example. So right here in our next example here, we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out the missing length of A to D. And we're going to do this a little bit different. We're going to ignore what the answer choices are. We're going to do this one a little bit different. We're going to also be given, instead of that the angle measurement of B is 90 degrees, we're going to tell you instead that the length from B to D that's going to equal to I'll decide right now. Okay, so let's see. The information that we have right here is that A to C, this distance right here is equal to 10. And we also know that the distance from B to C, this distance right here, that's equal to a total of 8. So let's figure out what this distance here is going to equal. So we're going to first use that information to figure out what this distance right here is in green. Now notice that we have a right triangle right here. So this side right here is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 10. The A and B sides are going to be unknown. So I'll call this side over here in green A. I'll call the blue side B. And the hypotenuse again in red, that's going to be my C. So using the Pythagorean theorem, A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. We're going to figure out the value of A by taking the square root of C squared minus B squared. So substituting in those values, we're going to substitute in 10 for C. We're going to substitute in 8 for B, and plugging this into our calculator. Bring our calculator out. The square root of 10 to the second power minus 8 to the second power equals 6. So this value here of A is going to equal to 6. Now, let's suppose that the value of B to D, they also give us this value, that B to D is going to equal to the number 5. So we know this right here is going to be 5. They want us to figure out the length from A to D. So this distance right here in purple. So if we create another triangle, again, that triangle right there, which is also going to be a right triangle, let me create it over here. This right triangle, using the points B, D, and A, we just found out that the side here, this green side that goes from B to A, is 6 units. And let's suppose again that they give us that the distance from B to D is equal to 5, like I indicated, right? So let's say that they give us that value. Well, because we have a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem yet once more to figure out the length of this purple side that connects A to D. And again, if we label this as A, label this as B, this one as A, this one as B, and since this one is across the 90 degrees, this one would be C, the value of A is the same formula as before. C squared minus B squared. So the square root of 6 to the second power minus 5 to the second power. Let's see what that gives us. So the square root of 6 to the second power minus 5 to the second power. That's equal to approximately 3.3. So our answer would be 3.3. And again, that doesn't match up with any of this because I'm going to change this type of problem. Instead of doing, again, similar triangles, we're going to just simply use the Pythagorean theorem twice. So this is how the question is going to look at for your quiz tomorrow. So now let's look at this triangle right here. In this triangle, we're given that the sine of P, which P is right here, over here. So here's my angle, is 5/3. Now remember from SOHCAHTOA, we know the following. We know that the sine of this angle P is equal to the opposite side over our hypotenuse. And here, those numbers are the numbers 5 and 13. So the opposite side, which is this side right here, since this is our angle, this is the opposite side. That side is going to measure 5 units. And the hypotenuse, H, which is across the 90-degree angle, this right here, H, that's going to equal to 13. So to find the cosine of R, which is from this angle right here, let's do it in red, this angle right here, we're going to do this, the cosine R from this corner right here. Well, relative to this angle, this side right here would be the opposite side. This side right here is still the H, so this is also the H for that angle right there in red. But this side over here would be the A. Since the O side already measures 5, since we already know that this measurement right here, from here, let me get my highlighter, from here to here is already 5, and we know again that the measurement from here to here is 13. Well, the cosine of my angle, which is the A over H, is going to equal to this ratio of 5, the A side for the red corner, which is 5, over the hypotenuse of the red corner, which again is still 13. So my answer is still going to be 5/13. So 5/13 is the answer. So for this figure right here, we want to determine which trig ratio can be used to find the measure of angle F using only the given lengths. So only using, again, this 4 and this 5, we want to figure out the measurement of angle F of this corner right here. Okay, well, since this is your 90-degree angle, opposite of that's going to be your hypotenuse. So this is your hypotenuse. If you're looking from this corner of F, opposite of that, where the 9 is, that's going to be your O side. So the O is equal to 9, which means that your A side would be this side right here. So your A value is going to be 4. If we look at the SOHCAHTOA, the only side that has no value, since they want us to use these two sides that have numbers, this side here, the O and the A, the H side is useless. So anything with an H is going to be useless. So we could ignore the sine and cosine. So using TOA, which is the tangent of our angle is going to equal to the opposite side of 9 divided by 4. But they're only asking again to determine which trig function I have to use. So here you would have to use the tangent. So this would be your answer. Now for this triangle right here, which of the following is the length of the side from B to C? So let's label that. They want us to figure out this length right here, B to C. So let's label that as our X. Let's label this side right here in red, and we'll do this side right here in green. Well, given that our angle is down here, this is our 42. Our hypotenuse, first of all, is going to be opposite of the 90-degree angle. So this is our drawing arrows. So opposite of 90-degree angles, that's going to be the letter H. Since our angle is down here, opposite of that one is O for opposite, and that means that the A value is going to be 10. From SOHCAHTOA, using our acronym right here, SOHCAHTOA, the H side is the one that's useless here. We have no information about this side right here, H. So anything with an H can be eliminated. So just like the previous example, we're going to use tangent. So the tangent of this angle theta has to equal to O over A. So that's the one we're going to use. And substituting in the values, that means that the tangent of 42 has to equal to the O side, which is X, divided by the A side, which is equal to 10. And in this situation, when the X is on top, the way we find X is by cross multiplying and multiplying 10 times the tangent of 42 degrees. So let's just write that in the calculator. 10 times the tangent of 42 degrees. That's equal to 9.00. So 9.0. So our answer would be letter C. All right. And now for the last page. And finally for this one right here. For this example, we have to do two steps. We have to figure out the area of the triangle. Well, let me write what that formula is going to be over here. The area of your triangle is 1/2 times the base and the height of the triangle, where the base of the triangle is this right here, and the height of the triangle is this corner right here on the right triangle. It's the two sides that intersect and create this 90-degree angle. So the two perpendicular sides are your base and your height. And it doesn't matter which one's the base and which one's the height, is the same thing. You're multiplying, so it's irrelevant. But because of the way that this looks, let's say that this side down here is our base, and we'll call the red side the height. So again, blue is the base and the red is the height. Well, obviously we can see that we know what the base is. They're given to us. We are given that the height, the H is equal to 3. However, we don't know the length of the blue side, the base. But we're going to use, again, trigonometry. Since this is our 90-degree angle, across our 90-degree angle is our hypotenuse. Now to figure out the opposite and the adjacent side, since our angle is here, the opposite side would be this one. That's our O. And that makes that this side over here the A. So we're going to use tangent again. From SOHCAHTOA, the side that's useless is this side here. We have no information about that side. So anything with an H is going to be eliminated. So that would be this one and that one. So that means that the tangent of X equals to the opposite side over the adjacent side. Now remember, X is your angle in degrees. So we're going to replace the X with 45 degrees. And we're going to replace the O with 3. And we're going to replace the A with X. In this situation, since the X is in the bottom, the way we figure out the value of X is not by multiplying, but in this case by dividing. So we're going to divide 3 by the tangent of 45. So let's see what that equals. So 3 So 3, divide that by the tangent of 45 degrees. That's equal to a total of 3. So this side right here is also going to measure 3. So now we can actually answer the question. So this was part 1. We had to do this part first, part 1. And now that we know what the measurements are, we can now do part 2, which answers the question. What is the area of the triangle? We would multiply our base of 3 and the height of 3, which ends up equaling to the decimal value of 4.5. So letter B would be the answer. Okay, that concludes again your review for tomorrow's quiz. Please make sure again that you review this and study it one more time before coming to class. And I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.